Hello everyone, how are we doing today? I know it's been a little while, life has been crazy. Just a quick reminder that there is a giveaway still running on my channel for the next week, so you do have some time to go and enter there. I will link that down below for you. It is for the entire Weekend Festival collection from BH, as well as a ColourPop Semi-Precious palette and a Maybelline Burgundy bar and a whole bunch of other little random tidbits. So don't forget to go check that out if you haven't already. The instructions to enter that giveaway will be down below as well. So today we are going to do a review of the L'Oreal Paradise Enchanted palette. I did buy this about 2 weeks ago and it was kind of a surprise to me because I hadn't actually heard about it coming out. I do follow Trend Mood pretty extensively, but I wanted to give a bit of an overview of what my thoughts on it were. I did do reviews on other older L'Oreal palettes and they haven't released a whole ton since then. That was the La Palette 1 and 2, but this is basically a 12 pan palette that was $19.99 Canadian at Walmart. It does remind me a little bit of the Burgundy bar, and a few points to mention right off the bat is there is like matte satins in here, which is very strange. So to look at them, they look matte, but they aren't actually. So that would be this shade, this shade, this shade, this shade, and this shade. They give some instructions on the back as well on how to do certain looks, which I kind of appreciate for people who are just getting started. And it gives the instructions based on eye color as well. So I am just going to go ahead and do my eye makeup today. I'm going to try and use only this palette, but so far in my experience with it, I've had to grab other palettes to support it, which doesn't necessarily make it a bad palette. It just needs something else to support. So I'm going to grab this shade here and put that in my crease. Gotta go get an oil change today, so you know, gotta look pretty. Maybe they'll give me something for free. Like a new car. Probably not though. So I was actually fairly impressed with this palette, even though I've had to grab to support a couple times. The shimmers in it, and specifically like this shade and this shade, were really ballin'. I really liked them. My preference with these type of palettes, as well as the Burgundy bar, is to do shadow looks that are fairly simple. Because the shimmers are so intense and because the payoff is so intense, it kind of speaks for itself. You don't really need to go really crazy with it. I just realized I didn't put any primer on, so I guess we're just gonna wing it without it and see what the color payoff and the wear really is like. My next shade I'll be using is this light pink here, and I'm just going to put that all over the lid because why not? My brush picks up a ton of color when I do this. See what I mean about payoff with these guys? Like, it's just effortless. I have yet to wear this without primer, so we'll see how it ends up going at the end of the day. I will come back and do a check-in. I'm also going to likely film a declutter today, and I should have had my Urban Decay On the Run palette in the mail on Friday, and then it didn't come. So that was upsetting. I have used this shade quite a bit, so you can see there is a little bit of usage in there. You can tell what the kick up is like, and generally that you can tell that I've been using it. Just popping back into that first shade here. No idea what's going on with my lighting. It's driving me crazy. Okay, so we're going to go into this darker shade here, and I'm going to just kind of put that in the crease and the outer corner a little bit, just to give slightly more dimension. Just a bit. The darker shades don't really darken up that much with this. I will say that. I would be happier with this palette, I think, if just the shimmers were in it, because the shimmers are definitely where it's at. However, when using the mattes, like most drugstore palettes in my opinion, they don't actually just blend away. It may take a little bit more to build up, but I would rather it take more to build up than just not show up at all, and then not blend at all, or just blend into a muddy piece of poo. Nobody likes that. Going into this shade here, I'm going to put this in my inner corner. Like, this is seriously the most basic ass look ever, but it gets my point across. See how beautiful this is? This could also be used as a face highlight. I should try. I like palettes like this that are easy. I want my makeup to be easy when I'm doing it. I don't want to have to think about it that much. Going back into this shade again, I'm going to just squidge that underneath my eye. And going back to this light cream shade in the top here, this sparkly shade, I'm going to put that on my brow bone because who don't want that pop? Okay, so I did get a full look out of this without having to do any kind of supporting palette, which I'd never done before. I never really tried to do, if I'm being honest. I'm perfectly okay with that. I'm happy with it. I'm going to put on some mascara and my eyeliner off camera, and then I will pop back in to give some more thoughts on this guy. Alright everyone, I just tossed on some mascara, eyeliner, and some lipstick, and I just wanted to give some extra thoughts about this palette. There is a little bit of fallout, and not in the way where like your whole shadow is falling out, but like just the glitter from it kind of falls onto your cheeks, but you can just dust that away. Based off of first impressions, if I was just to have used this now, I'd probably give it a 3 out of 5. But knowing how some of the other shimmers perform, I don't actually have a problem at all with this palette. I do not regret the purchase. It is supposed to smell like peaches, but I don't actually smell it at all. Like, I have to stick my face like right in there and like really huff in to get any kind of scent. So if you liked the idea of scented products, but you are sensitive to it, maybe this is something that you could look into. There is blushes in this line as well, and I believe there's a few other things in the line. The display was a little bit picked over, so I didn't get to see everything that was available. My only complaint is the price point. So this was $19.99. So $19.99 and 7 grams of product in here. My issue is $19.99 these days is actually fairly expensive for a palette. Like if you're looking at ColourPop or you're looking at Juvia's Place, those palettes are very good. Those palettes are very good, and this is just L'Oreal. This is something you walk into Shoppers Drug Mart, you walk into Ulta, you walk into those lower end drugstores, and this is something you would find there. Walmart even. But we have these e-commerce companies that aren't paying for brick and mortar, and because of that, they are able to charge a lesser price to the consumer. So for me, price point I don't think is worth it. I think if it was around maybe $15, it would have been worth it for me. I know it's only a $5 difference, but it is the principle. I have reached for it quite a bit considering the colors in it. They're not super bright, but they are kind of nice for me. I do think this one is a little bit too light for me. However, I actually overall do really like the palette. Have I seen better? Of course I have. But we also are comparing drugstore to high-end and companies that have been well established in their eyeshadows for quite some time, where L'Oreal keeps reformulating and keeps basically retrying when something doesn't work out. Their lip palettes were boring to say the least, but they did the job. And some of the shades, when you finger swatch them, can be a little bit chalky, but I don't particularly find that is an issue while you're putting them on the eyes, as you saw in my application. Now we have eyeshadow all over me. Guys, I will do a quick check-in after I go get my oil change, and we will see how it goes after I go out into the sweaty world. All right, it's been a very stressful 5 to 6 hours later. I got a flat tire when I went out to get my oil change. Luckily, I was going to the dealership anyway. $400 later and 1 rental car later, I am back home and my eyeshadow is fairly intact. The reason I bring up the stress-filled afternoon is because for me, when I get stressed, I stress sweat, which is gross, but it's fact of life. And my eyeshadow still held up without primer pretty well. The color has faded a bit, as has most of my makeup, but all in all, it's not like super creased and it's still there. It's definitely really hot out. It was definitely a stressful afternoon, but this did still hold up. And in my opinion, overall, I'm going to give this palette a 3 out of 5. I am taking away some points because of the price point at $19.99 Canadian is a little bit high when you can get much more product for like just slightly more money with a little bit better quality. There are some shades in here that really knock it out of the park, and there are some shades that are kind of which is another reason why I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5. The most positive thing that I feel like I can give this is it does actually blend and doesn't turn muddy, and the scent is not overwhelming. There isn't a super bunch of looks, to me anyway, that you can get out of this. It is kind of a one look palette with different variations. So if you're somebody who likes like the Naked Heat, for example, that would be a good one to compare it to just on variety wise. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Sorry this seems so rushed, but now I just had to sit down and now I have to run back out and try and figure out the rest of my life. Don't forget to enter the giveaway before you go, and if you are not already, please subscribe and leave me a comment down below.